In this video, we're going to go over how BGT flows through the system at the smart contract level, for you to understand how BGT goes from the BGT contract all the way to the hands of end users. First, we're going to start with an overview of all the different contracts that we're going to talk about, and then we're going to walk through step by step for how the BGT actually ends up in reward vaults and in the hands of end users. The first contract that we're going to look at, and the most important one, is the BGT contract. This is at the center of our POL system. This is a contract that manages the ability to burn one-way BGT for Bearer, and also it manages the boosting system, which allows users to boost validators with their BGT. The Bearer Chef contract is the contract responsible for managing validators' reward allocations. This is where they can queue and activate how they want to separate their booster rewards. They can dictate which reward vaults get allocation and how much of the total allocation they get. Block Reward Controller is the only contract that has authorization to mint BGT from the BGT contract. And as the name refers, it's the one that's actually in charge of calculating how much rewards get minted per block. It's in charge of calculating and minting two different amounts. One is the base amount that goes directly to the validator's operator, and the second is the boosted amount, or the reward emission, that goes to the distributor contract. The Reward Vault contract is responsible for managing the staking and rewards accounting of BGT that comes from validators. This is where users stake tokens to earn a share of the BGT going to that vault. The distributor contract is responsible for managing the reward distribution process. Distributor acts as the central entity between Block Reward Controller, which actually mints the BGT, Bearer Chef, which has the reward allocations, and Reward Vaults, which receives and manages the rewards. The Staking Rewards contract is a contract that implements the core staking and reward distribution logic, where users can stake tokens to earn rewards that accrue continuously based on their proportion of the total stake. This contract handles all the complex math and state management required for distributing rewards over time, including handling stake and unstake operations, reward rate calculations, and reward claims. Okay, so those are all the contracts. Let's do a quick TLDR before diving back into the step-by-step of how BGT flows. So remember, the BGT contract is where the BGT lives, where it gets minted. Block Reward Controller is what actually has the right to mint. It mints it and gives it to two different places. One directly to the validator for the base rate, and then the rest goes to the distributor. Bearer Chef is what holds all of the validators' reward allocations and preferences. Reward Vault is what manages all of the logic for staking and reward accounting for users that are staking in a reward vault. The distributor is the central entity that coordinates all the distribution of the BGT to the correct reward vaults. And finally, Staking Rewards is what manages all of the logic for how users can actually accrue their rewards over time by staking in a vault. Let's see how they actually work together to move BGT through the system and end up in the hands of end users. Now we start with the BGT.sol contract. All of the BGT that ends up in users' hands gets minted from this contract. This is the center of everything. Now the process goes like this. Every time a new block gets proposed by a validator, the distributor's distribute for function gets called with that block's info. Specifically, it gets the public key of the validator who just proposed the block and the timestamp of that block. Inside that distribute for, it immediately calls the process rewards function on the Block Reward Controller contract. Now remember, this contract is the one that actually calculates what the validator and the reward vaults are going to get. So first it starts off by calculating the validator's base reward and directly to the validator's operator address. Then it calculates and mints the reward emission based on the validator's boost, and this goes directly to the distributor contract. Within that same distribute for function, it gets the active reward allocation for that validator. And for each weight in that allocation, it calculates the reward amount based on weight percentage, and then it increases the BGT allowance for that vault. It notifies the vault of its reward amount. Now you see that I say that it notifies the reward vault of its reward amount. This is because the reward vault contract actually pulls in that BGT through its Safe Transfer Reward Token function. This pull mechanism, rather than the distributor pushing the tokens, is a pattern for safety, letting the recipient contract control when it receives the tokens after being notified of their availability. So now the BGT is in the reward vault. Perfect. It gets to the end users in a similar way. Users claim rewards from the reward vault contract through the get reward function. And this is inherited from the staking rewards contract. And there you've seen it, how BGT starts in the BGT contract, goes through Block Reward Controller, goes to the distributor, reads from Bearer Chef, gets to the reward vault, and finally ends up in the hands of end users. You're basically a POL expert now.